And welcome back. We are at Missouri State University as Martin Mulkerrins goes up against Jonathan Hingey here in the men's round of 8. This is the Open Division I matchup, and we saw both of these players earlier today. Both of them look dominant, Dave Fink.
Mark. 1-0.
That is the first mark on the scorecard there from our referee. What do you expect to see here, Dave, as these two match up?
I thought Martin looked to be the best player in this event from his earlier performance today, but Jonathan Hingey is a formidable opponent. This is his home court. He's the #1 ranked player for Missouri State. He'll have the crowd support.
0-1.
Jonathan actually representing the local team here, Missouri State University. Martin representing St. Mary's College, Galway.
Mark. 1-1.
A lot of people, Dave, in the galleries here talking about Martin as a potential top 8 pro player, the way he looked in that opening round match, but
And off.
his opponent this morning, Dave, didn't put any pressure on him whatsoever.
Mark.
There's another mark on the scorecard.
2-1.
Score is 2-1.
Jonathan telling me, Dave, that it was hard for him to adjust to the fast style coming from Tulsa, Oklahoma when he started playing handball here for Missouri State, because all the guys in Oklahoma play such a slow game. He said that he found himself hitting mostly ceiling shots and dumb kills that really didn't work at all here at this level. So he says he's finally adjusted. He's had a lot of experience playing top guys in the Midwest. He's played Tommy Little a number of times in tournaments, as well as Lil Lemp and Kevin Pettis, and his game is really coming on. He earned his first big title at the George Lee 2 weekends ago, where he slammed there. He actually held a 9-0 first game lead against Emmett Peugeot, the former #1 ranked pro, last week in Salt Lake City.
1 in, 2 out.
The show court here is about an hour behind. This was supposed to be a 5 o'clock match. Our crew
will be enjoying a very large and expensive dinner on their executive director because of this.
I love these
extended workday.
Live announcements. But this match was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. It's now starting at 6 Central Time. Our crew is only paid from 9 to 5. So this is overtime for the crew, which means that we will have to call this our last match of the evening because of the lateness of this show court.
But it's not optional overtime.
No, it's a mandatory overtime, which means it's a
3+1.
It's a free dinner at Fire and Ice Grill tonight, where they serve amazing.
It actually is really good there.
Salmon and
not that everything that
shrimp.
You and I say isn't completely serious, because it is. This is a serious production.
Well, we take everything serious. I ate an ice cream bar for lunch today, and I've burned no calories whatsoever, but my intake is keeping up with its right ratio.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what else you ate for lunch today.
3 slices of pizza in record time, 20 seconds.
And?
I had 2 rock stars to wash it
1
down.
in, 5 out.
And don't forget the Chinese delivery.
I forgot about that.
I didn't, and I'm keeping score.
I didn't consider that meal finished since I did not open the fortune cookie yet. That's a rule of thumb. Martin Mulkerrins goes down for the low kill shot and gives us a quick look here in the booth.
6+1.
He wanted to make sure that we were watching there, and we were.
Well, we have every camera on him right now. I gave him a quick wink.
Well, Dave, you'll find that players know you as one of the top players. They see all the titles you win, and when they hit big shots, they laser beam for eye contact with you for your approval.
Mark, 8 plays 1.
Looked like Martin, Dave, was a little bit fatigued in the start of this match, but he's now completely dominating. And
I love that eye contact. You know, Michael Wu, when he was playing, he drops his shoulders and struts toward the ball when he makes a good play and then looks over and winks. Martin Mulkerrins, he actually makes straight eye contact right here in the booth as to say, you better be talking about me. That's a terrible dump shot right there from Hingey.
Well, that was one of those balls, Dave, that looked like it was going to hit the front wall and back wall, but it checked up on the floor and then the back wall. And by the logic of most handball players, that would be a bad bounce. But that's
11 plays 1.
I suppose that this argument has been exhausted, but not by me.
Mark.
There's another score here from Mulkerrins.
I actually look forward to the Mulkerrins kills because then I know we can get that eye contact. The pass shots, Dave, don't warrant the eye contact.
I think more players need to make eye contact. Let's look here.
Mark.
Only for flat kills from the deep court.
Okay, all right, so it's
13
but
plays
I'm more
1.
impressed, Dave, with the pass shots. And Jonathan Hingey, believe me, Dave, we've all been in this position. You come into a match as the underdog, you think, you know, I've got a good chance here. I can
1 in,
pull the
13
upset,
out.
but then 5 minutes into the match, you find yourself just getting killed. And then all of a sudden, the air is completely let out of your sails. Now, Dave, on court number 4, it's Isaac Acosta, who's got a nice lead in game number 2 against Kieran Neary, 15-10. It looks like he's on his way to forcing a tiebreaker there. Looks like Kieran Neary over there on court 5, Dave, is completely exhausted. And that ball, let's just take a quick instant replay of that if we can, Dave, in the backcourt. Jonathan Hingey hitting Martin in the back of the shoe from about 30 feet away, and they're going to replay it. I don't know. This was, okay, this is the play here. We'll see if we can catch it on our camera. I'm not sure that geometry would even allow that ball to make it. A ball that was hit at shoulder height, hitting the shoe.
Well, actually, I think geometry would say that it could make it if you studied any geometry.
Well, I failed it.
But but I believe physics says that it would not make it.
Okay. Well, physics,
I mean,
the ball's on its way down, and it's already hit the bottom of his shoe at 30 feet.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Maybe I was trying to use physics and geometry.
Well, geometry is a study of logical thinking, and I think you were thinking pretty logical there.
Okay.
But in a study where parabolas come into use, and if you look at what Einstein invented, where light curves around, and there could be in space and time the bending of light, which means that light does not necessarily travel straight. It can actually curve around objects, which is a theory of relativity. In that sense, possibly that ball could go down and dip back flat. You just never know. They said Nolan Ryan, when he pitched over 100 miles an hour, the ball would go down and then flatten out as it was actually a rise ball. His fastball
Well,
actually flattened.
No such thing as a rise ball.
Correct, but it did flatten out.
It looked like that.
Correct. Just saying that possibly that ball could have flattened out somehow.
And now it's Jonathan Hingey who's putting together a pretty nice run here. Did he build too big a deficit, though? That's the question, Dave.
We're going to find out.
Jonathan Hingey is so level-headed, Dave. I'd like to see him get a little bit more intense, especially now playing in his biggest championship of his life. This is the one that he's trained for 4 years to win, Dave, on his home court as a senior. He's really a nice kid, too. I just met him for the first time last week, Dave. He's a really engaging young guy.
He's a nice kid. But you can't get much nicer than Martin Mulkerrins.
That's true.
From St. Mary's High School and now in UCD, Ireland, representing that great powerhouse of a college, University City, Dublin. If you look at Martin's game here, Dave, what do you see that kind of reminds you of another pro player? Kind of an Emmett Peixote style, or?
Well, he's got amazing swings with both hands. He's swings as well with both hands, similar to an Alan Garner, but not built like an Alan Garner, built more like an Emmett Peixote.
I'm surprised here that the Irish referee, Colm O'Ling, does not recognize that. Look at that dive right there.
Well, Martin, thank you.
From Mulkerrins, who actually calls it a double bounce. I actually thought he got it, but a little hard out of our vantage point here. Love to see the instant replay for a couple reasons. One, when Martin serves the ball, his foot is foot faulting before he actually gets the serve off, meaning his right foot, watch it here, is lining up on the line. He's changing his serve, so forget, that's the announcer curse. When he goes for the power serve, he lines up out of the box, which is technically a foot fault, and you don't hear a lot of referees calling that. Let's see what Martin does here. He goes back to that underhand lob,
15 plays 5.
where he does not foot fault.
You know, Dave, a lot of these college players mix up their game so well. I'm not sure that I agree with that strategy necessarily. I like finding a rhythm in that server's box and locating that serve, because you have to have enough confidence as a server to think if you're hitting your best serve that it's going to yield setups and points. I'm not sure that you can really develop that kind of rhythm and groove if you're constantly changing your serve.
Well, I like what Martin did, though. Conversely to that remark, he went in with 2 underhand serves. He got 2 quick points on the exact same play. The third time he tried it, Hingey changed his return and ended up getting the side out. But I'll take that any day of the week. I'd love to go in every single time and get 2 points. The days of getting 9 in a row, I think, are over with for me. But
well, it all depends on who you play, I guess.
16 plays 5.
The days of you giving up 9 points in a row are not gone.
No. Nice dig right there from Mulkerrins.
Jonathan needs to take his time there. He rushes the shot with Mulkerrins on the ground, but ends up winning the rally anyway.
Trying to get intel on that Isaac Acosta match going on in the backcourt.
7 plays 16.
I believe that's going into tiebreaker versus
Shot ball, second serve.
Kieran Neary. Wow. A very impressive handball player is this Martin Mulkerrins.
And an impressive eye contactor after every kill shot.
Now he's changing his serve again here one more time. I think it's smart, though, Dave, because he had 2 easy points on setups, and he decided to go away from that serve because Jonathan figured it out. I'm not sure how many serves that you do differently when you serve. I know you've got that Z serve that you've been working on, but it's not the one you always go to. You'll have one down the right wall and left wall. You probably have, what, about 5 in your arsenal, Dave? I would bet that Martin has about 10 that he uses.
I'm just not a big fan of the soft serve, unless you're Dave Chapman, that wants your opponent to hit the ball at the ceiling so you can control the rally that way.
Well, then Hingey comes back and gives him the same exact serve that he was getting.
And Hingey goes to that behind the back shot far too often. I mean, I know he's looking to make the highlight reel here, Dave, but is it really worth it on balls that he could easily pick up with his left hand?
You see Martin going to his 4th different serve There, here it is. This is the foot fault. His foot is actually over that back line on the right. I mean, I know it's microscopic, Dave, but you can see it from our standpoint.
Well, rules are rules, so whether it's an inch over or 5 feet over, it's really the same thing.
First time I saw him do it, it was over by about 3 inches.
8 plays 17.
That last one was just barely just leaking over.
As a referee, Dave, do you like to see the ref give a warning or just call the foot fault? Because a warning really is...
I don't understand warnings in handball. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's almost like the referee saying, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to call this, but I'm going to tell you about this right now. I just don't understand it. The only time I would call a warning, I guess, and this is even more stupid to even bring it up, would be if it's getting close to crunch time and you don't want the play to come down to you calling a foot fault on a 20-to-20 type serve.
And off.
I guess you would give a warning leading into that potential matchup at the end. I mean, I don't really know. I think.
Well, Whitey Dog wishes Dave Steinberg had given him a warning before serving an ace at 10-0 in the national final tiebreaker. Hitting the ace, having the point taken off the board, and then losing 11-10.
I'm just not a fan of the warning whatsoever unless you're warning a player that you're going to give him a technical for, well, pretty much everything you do on a handball court.
Huh. What about the things I do off the court? Sometimes they come off the court to yell at the ref.
I don't believe warning should take place off the court. It should only be on the court if you are going to give them, which I'm not a fan of.
So you're a fan of being able to say whatever you want off the court then?
No, I believe there should be no warning, should be just straight technicals off the court.
What about straight forfeitures? That would be a crowd pleaser.
Now Jonathan Hingey getting another point, and I believe a timeout's being called by Martin Mulkerrins. And the crowd starting to get behind Jonathan Hingey here as you see just hordes of handball fans and players and their family. I noticed a lot of moms and dads, and looks like grandma and grandpas out here watching their kids play. Now, I don't know how many kids from Mo State, since it is their local facility here, how many of those enter this tournament? Is it the whole class is in, or do they have a limited number? Do they have tournament flooding where you allow the local host who might have a program of 50 kids to just allow them to play? Because a lot of people are saying to me, how come it's Mo State and LFC on the courts? Well, that's what it is every year. You just look at pure numbers, not geometrically speaking like you would say, misspeaking like you would say, but I mean, just look at the pure mathematics involved here. You've got probably 30 or so from LFC and Mo State here at this venue. That's 60 out of 230 players. And they seem to be dominant because they're very strong handball programs, so they're always making these marquee matches, which is quarterfinals and semifinals appearances. That's why we see a lot of LFC and a lot of Mo State just out of circumstance.
Well, it's kind of like Duke and UNLV back in the early 90s, where it was just the two most dominant college basketball programs in the country, and they always seem to be playing one another in the championship. Very much like the Lake Forest Southwest Missouri State, Missouri State rivalry. It was Southwest Missouri State back in my time, Dave. Like that shot from Jonathan. And those are the shots Jonathan developed learning the game in Oklahoma. Those paddle kills up in the front court. He said most of the guys he played with only hit paddle kills. If Jonathan does not end up coming all the way back here in this first game, I expect Jonathan to be very competitive and actually force a tiebreaker here. This does not look like the same Mulkerrins that we watched in his opening match today. Let's take an instant replay of that last terrible miss by Jonathan Hingey. Just the last shot in that rally where there's a huge back wall to front wall setup. And take a look at this here, Dave. Jonathan could let this hit the front wall again. Instead, even if he hits the front wall there, Dave, he's not going to win that rally.
I would have expected to either see like that Alan Garner overhand spike or just let it go back to the front wall. And it is very difficult because you're kind of running with your back to the front wall, which is kind of awkward position to be in anyway. Isaac Acosta wins the tiebreaker 11-1 versus Kieran Neary.
Okay.
That's not surprising given what I was watching there in that second game, Dave, as he had worn Kieran Neary completely out. And Kieran Neary will need to get in a little bit better shape if he wants to compete with these top-level guys here at this event.
10 in, 18 out.
Jonathan Hingey kind of hanging in here with Martin. Martin is one heck of a handball player. It doesn't take long. We were watching him warm up early this morning. We said to ourselves, this guy is really good. Like pro qualifier material.
Well, he was not pushed at that time or during the warm-ups. Now that I'm seeing him push a little bit, he doesn't play quite as well moving side to side.
I'm impressed with his game. I think he's got all the tools here. He's only 18 years old, Dave.
Well, that's
just out of high school.
That is very impressive.
I mean, he's just another one of the long list of great young handball players that no one's ever heard of coming from Ireland that would be top contenders if they actually had or allowed Irish players to play on the Pro Tour. Look how he gets back into position, back to the red carpet. Left hand from 38 feet. Watch this wink that he gives us here in the booth.
No, that was a stare down, actually, that you missed.
I just missed it. I'm watching the monitor. You're watching live. I missed the live look down. I think Martin's want to do his job, and he's wanting us to do our job, too. He's staying on top of us, Dave. And there it is. Martin Mulkerrins takes down game number 1, 21-10, and we're going to have game 2 right around the corner. This is the men's quarterfinals. Division I open play. We'll be back right around the corner for game number 2. Stick around here at racefor8.com.
Second game. Jonathan serve. 0-0. Play ball.
You heard that announcement right there. 0-0. This is the second game. Hingey loses the first one, 21-10. Earlier, it was Isaac Acosta, the number 1 seed. He survives a scare from Kieran Neary, losing the first game 21-11, coming back, taking game number 2, 21-11, and then tiebreaker 11-0 for Isaac Acosta.
Well, I saw Kieran Neary right at the end of his rope in the middle of that second game where he was completely gassed. Let's take a quick instant replay of that last replay where it was Martin seemingly backing right into Jonathan's shot.
Let's look at that replay right here. Let's see.
0-0.
Yeah, that's textbook in my opinion. Well, I mean, what would make a guy that's serving the ball even back down to the dotted line like that? I mean, the rule says getting out of the way, not getting into the way. I don't get it. I never will, Dave. I know this is one of the things that frustrates you, but as a referee, will you ever make that call?
Well, I would.
Now, we saw at the last pro stop in Salt Lake City where Abraham Montijo calls an avoidable on Nadi Alvarado very early on, one that really didn't look like it was an avoidable. You saw it on replay back home on demand. What were your thoughts on that? Is it the same sort of play there?
No, because Nadi didn't back out. Nadi was nowhere near the restraining line when he was hit. He was closer to the right wall. And the pro players at that time, Dave, had been briefed on that very play. And you saw all of them make the adjustment and avoid that exact situation, which we saw quite a bit in the first few pro stops this year.
Don't understand that serve right there at all, Dave.
One plays one. Out.
We're talking about Twitter earlier.
Second service.
I find it odd if you are ever on Twitter. You see some of these people that are trending, and trending means basically who's getting the most views or has the most followers actually retweeting or tweeting underneath somebody's account. Remember the old basketball player Penny Hardaway? He's one of the top trenders for some reason. He's not even in basketball anymore. And he trends very high on Twitter,
so to speak, then.
One of his new tweets, he's actually getting about 20 tweets every 10 seconds. Penny Hardaway's tweet line that just happened a few minutes ago is, "Ballin' is what I was born to do." That's what we're doing here at Missouri State University. We're balling this weekend.
Well, Penny was one of the greatest underachievers, I believe. I thought he had top 5 all-time talent, size, and skills. Never really materialized into that legacy type of player. He was an all-star and also an NBA champion, I believe, wearing the pinstripes with the Orlando Magic in the Shaq days. And Jonathan Hingey now just giving away points.
3 plays 1.
And that's 4 unforced errors early in this second game for Jonathan Hingey. And by unforced errors, Dave, I mean just putting the ball in the floor. And how can you beat a guy that you're pretty much even with when you put 4 balls in the floor in 10 rallies and he's put 0 in the floor?
That's a good point. Mulkerrins representing Team Ireland over here at the Collegiate National Championships. Here's a second serve. University City, Dublin. Jonathan Hingey just looks tired, Dave. He's just not sharp at all.
And he's also deflated now.
Speaking of tweeting, our tweet account is WPH Live. Get on Twitter, follow us. In fact, you can talk to the broadcast team via Twitter if you'd like. We'll comment on your comments. WPH Live, that's the number sign, WPH Live, and you can tweet with us. We will follow you. You could be trending with us, but we'll trend back. In fact, Dave Fink is a top 6 ranked pro. You've been in the top 6 on and off for about 17 years, Dave. And you can get advice from Dave Fink, especially if you see a play that you'd like to see what Dave's thoughts are.
And now you see Martin just completely comfortable in there. And as you know, as a player, Dave, when you're comfortable, there's really no difficult shot. Jonathan Hingey now not really doing anything, not applying any pressure, just floating the ball back into the court. It's target practice now for Martin Mulkerrins, who finally makes his first unforced error 7 minutes into this second game.
John Fitzgerald tweets that he thinks that Cole Moling is refereeing on the webcast, doing a great job. Everybody at UL Handball very proud. Coach Colm. Look at that shot right there from Mulkerrins, unable to dip into the front wall there, and there's a point here. And yeah, you know, Cole Moling is doing a good job refereeing here. It's our very first tweet interaction with the broadcaster's booth, and if you want to chat
really
with,
say you took it in stride. I mean,
the announcers,
a little bit overly excited about it, although I am also excited, but I'm playing it cool.
well, you know, we had some people say, you know, we'd really like an avenue for us to talk to the broadcast crew, and you guys can actually respond to us. That was a short ball, and that's a good call from our referee. So here's your opportunity. You tweet us at WPH Live on Twitter.
Great pass shot. That will not elicit a stare down, although it did, Dave.
Oh, it did. He did.
Surprisingly.
Well, Martin will stare us down on pass shots.
Well, he hadn't yet, but now we may.
No, I saw one earlier in the first game.
Okay.
It was a pure pass shot, and we got the stare down. There's another one.
And that was a big stare down there with that 38-foot right corner kill. I knew that was coming. I was ready for it.
What happens when we start staring him down after he misses a shot?
Well, he won't make eye contact with us, much like the referees after they know they've missed a call.
Nice track down right there from Hingey. What
The over-under on the amount of time before a referee looks at us after a terrible call is 5 minutes. Most referees go well over that.
10 plays 3.
Score is 10-3.
And that was a big foot fault, though, not called.
That was a quick stare right there from.
That was just more of a glance, just a
11 plays 3.
want to make sure you know I've got that shot glance.
Shot.
Jonathan Hingey is just overmatched right now by whom I believe is the best person in this draw.
Well, don't sleep on my sleeper, Daniel Cordova, who's been dominant here throughout this event, has not dropped a game, and none of his opponents have scored more than 13 points in any single game thus far. Obviously, you can say the same for Martin Mulkerrins.
You're watching the 60th United States Handball Association's four-wall collegiate national championships. Dave Fink in the booth here. One of my favorite all-time people in this world that I love to hate. And yours truly, Dave Vincent, sitting courtside.
Jonathan Hingey coming off the hinges right now, and not in a good way. Sometimes things are off the hinges, Dave. In Gen X, I know that you're not part of that, but that means it's really cool. It's so great it's off the hinges.
Oh, okay.
But right now, Jonathan Hingey's off the hinges, more like the wheels are coming off.
All right.
I get that.
Score is 3 in, 11 out.
Terrible serve there from Jonathan Hingey. I mean, you just can't hit a worse serve. If you serve the ball right down the middle of the court, it wouldn't be as bad as when the ball checked up off that left side wall. You have to be really fit to play against Martin Mulkerrins, Dave, because he really uses the whole court. He uses those tremendous angled pass shots.
And there's a round of applause from the crowd here as Jonathan Hingey puts that one into the left corner.
3 in, 11 out.
Not sure I understand that serve, Dave. I just don't think you're winning national championships with that fake out underhand lob to the right. I mean, I'd rather see Hingey, who has a lot of power, establish this type of serve right here that Mulkerrins is going to do. Look at this ball that you're forcing your opponent to go into a defensive strike zone with.
Well, you're preaching to the choir there, Dave. I don't think you're winning a national title unless you're some guy from St. Louis hitting that underhand long serve. This turned out to be a pretty nice rally that unfortunately ended with a replay as Jonathan going for the wraparound shot and catching Martin on the back of the right shoulder.
11 plays 3. Shot. Second serve.
Really, Dave, I believe it's been Jonathan Hingey's poor return of serve that has enabled him,
12 plays 3.
made him unable to really make this match competitive.
I think he's exhausted.
Well, I saw this last week from Jonathan Hingey, Dave, in Salt Lake City, where he lost to Emmett Pashot and then lost to Abe Montijo in the open division. Just does not have a really high-level return of serve. And if you're playing against these top-level competition, Dave, it's very difficult to get yourself into the match unless you can defend and neutralize the serve.
Got a stare down after that play from Martin. He's got 14 points and 9 stare downs in just this game alone, which is more stare downs than points for Hingey at this moment by 300%.
You don't want to be down 300% in points for stare downs. Not a good ratio if you're trying to come back here in this match.
3 in, 15 out.
I was on record saying, Dave, that I believe Jonathan Hingey would force a tiebreaker here, but fortunately for me, I did not put any dessert tickets on that.
Well, if my math is right, we're going to get 3 more stare downs before this game is over.
And that would also mean 1 more point for Jonathan Hingey. So you're expecting 3 more stare downs and a 21-4 win. Although that was in the middle of the rally, so I'm not sure we can really count that.
Well, we can't because we're in the middle of
cursing.
Announcer's curse there.
Sorry, 4 plays 15.
And why isn't Jonathan Hingey serving that serve, Dave? You see how effective that is. The natural that runs into that left side wall.
I don't get that either right there. You got one great serve down the left. You just got a point on it on an amazing serve, and you go to the right to try to fool your opponent. But he scored 3 in a row, and we're over here in the broadcast booth. Nice dig right there, but it's a setup for Hingey. And he powers that ball, and that's a 4th straight point. Normally, I think that Mulkerrins would take a timeout here, but I think with this lead, he's going to let it go a couple more points before he pulls the trigger.
And look at this amazing serve now that Jonathan Hingey is hitting.
Here's a timeout here. Martin Mulkerrins sees that the momentum has completely changed for him, and Jonathan Hingey staying in the front court from the majority of these rallies, Dave. And that timeout being called. You're watching the 60th United States Handball Association's 4-Wall Collegiate National Championships. We're at Springfield, Missouri at Missouri State University, where it's a celebration of student handball all weekend long. The students from around the world and country come here to catch the vibe and the sickness that we call handball. And Dave, you toggle in and out of this sickness. I see that you're thinking to yourself, I was at University of Arizona for 4 years. I could have played at the collegiate level. but you didn't do it. Instead, you were a walk-on on the tennis team. And I think that there's players like you who come here that had a long career in handball, and you say, you know what, I would have loved to be on a part of a team like LFC or Pacific or those coming from Ireland, because they sit there and they root for you. And I know that you don't have many fans, but if you did back then, it would have been a wonderful thing. Could have saved your life.
But I believe that I could have turned my own team against me and been the first player in collegiate national history to have their team rooting against them.
That's probably true. That ball clipped Hingey on the way up. Scored 5 straight points here. Beautiful shot right there from Mulkerrins, and there's the eye contact.
15 in, 8 out.
I predicted 3 eye contacts before the match ended. That was 1. We have 2 more left.
I call them stare down.
I'm not sure what they are, really.
Jonathan should have ended the rally with the fly kill with his right hand. Instead, he over scoops and brings the
16 plays 8.
setup off the back wall.
Short, on the line. Second serve.
I see, Dave, one of the assistant coaches at Minnesota State is filming this match. Perhaps he doesn't know that as a WPH member he would have access to watch this and over 400 matches live, online, on demand at any time. And that's not coming from a handheld camera either. This is TV quality production. Almost, Dave, like when you see the baseball players filming the home run derby from their handheld cameras. Do they not know that it's being filmed on ESPN? That they could have DVR'd the experience and saved themselves the trouble?
Right away. $16 in, 9 out.
And John Hingey takes a pretty blasé serve and doesn't do anything with it.
And now Hingey gets a side out here.
And remember, Dave, Martin is 18 years old, but he's not fully developed yet.
9 in, 16 out.
And he doesn't have necessarily the lung capacity or the strength in his legs to push through the exhaustion. Jonathan Hingey's 4 years older, Dave. He's much stronger physically. And he's scored 7 straight points now. Make that 8 straight points to take what looked like a blowout into what's becoming a very competitive second game.
Well, that's kind of brings up that argument of why Jonathan was doing those underhand lob fake out serves multiple times there when he was down at 16-3. Now he goes to the power serve like as if somebody was coaching him. And this is going to be a big setup, and he's completely turned around the tide here.
And you see Martin lost a lot of sting on his shots. We'll see, Dave, if he can
check the floor, please.
Regroup.
Floor is completely wet.
One final push here to end this match.
This is the Collegiate National Handball Championships live. Let's watch this replay. Just how close this ball is. Hingey actually is on it, except for the ball cracks out. Here it is.
That wasn't a great shot, and that was a pretty easy retrieve, too. It wasn't like the ball stayed down.
I believe Hingey was honing in on that, except for just clipped the side wall, and he overjumped it. I don't think he thought it was going to crack out like that.
I'm not sure he even needed to dive for that ball.
16 in, 11 out.
Let's see what Mulkerrins does here. I like this serve. a nice retrieve from Hingey.
Amazing pass shot there. It takes so much power and control to hit that one-wall pass shot across court, keep it off the back wall and off the side wall.
Mulkerrins going to that same serve. He usually sticks with the serve for about 2 times before he changes. Look at that get right there from Mulkerrins. And then Hingey makes him pay.
Mulkerrins not really known for being a get artist, Dave, but he made an amazing get in the backcourt there. But Hingey paddle killing the get, earns the side out.
And now Hingey scores another point.
12 play 17.
And that's consecutive balls that Mulkerrins is driven into the floor on the return of serve. Neither of those serves particularly effective, although they both yielded points for Jonathan Hingey, but both serves popping up around that revolving door. Martin had the shots that he wanted with his right hand, Dave, and didn't stay down long enough on them and skip balls right into the floor.
This is the 60th United States Handball Association 4-wall collegiate handball championship. So almost 40 different schools on the collegiate level have come out and converged here at MSU, Missouri State University at Plaster Sports Complex to play for these collegiate championships provided by the United States Handball Association. Hosted here by Missouri State University. Hingey back in. He's on a 10-1 run at the moment here in game number 2. Trying to force a tiebreaker, and if he did such a thing, this crowd would go nuts, Dave. I don't know if that was a smart paddle shot from Hingey.
I believe if Jonathan Hingey gets away from those fly paddle shots, that his game is going to go way up.
Well, if he would have
lost a lot of these rallies, Dave, by going to that fly paddle shot. He hasn't put one of those shots away yet.
This is where I believe Mulkerrins' foot fault lining up out of the box before he served. No call from the referee. And the crowd's starting to get involved here at Missouri State. Another side out. Hingey within 4 points. He was down by 13 points less than 15 minutes ago, Dave. This could be the match of the tournament. I believe Mulkerrins is tired, and Hingey looks very aggressive. If that ball hits the ceiling, it'll make it, but it doesn't. And there is another point for Hingey, now on a 11-1 run here in the second game. Usually when you say 11-1 run, you're up 18-10, but here he finds himself down 14-17.
This is where it could really start to become difficult for Martin, as he'll have about 200 people cheering against him. This is not like a typical handball tournament, Dave, where fans will only cheer when you make a great shot or when you call double bounce. This is a very partisan crowd trying to urge on their #1 player. Jonathan has to shoot that ball, Dave.
And there's another point. This is unbelievable what we're witnessing here with Hingey now at 16-17, and Mulkerrins looks like he has hit the ropes. He wants the oxygen tank, Dave.
Well, he's extremely fatigued now. He's
Jonathan
lost the zip on his shots.
Oh, unbelievable athletic move right there from Jonathan Hingey.
That almost hit Jonathan, bouncing into that right side wall.
Now we're all together at 17. This is now a 14-1 run here in the second game, and we actually started etching Mulkerrins' name into the semifinals, Dave. Hingey 4 points away from making this a tiebreaker. And a terrible play right there from Hingey, who has to be completely gassed.
Well, Jonathan slowed down his swing there. He decelerated his left-hand swing and tried to play it safe at the last second. And as a result, just completely shanked it. And that's the right shot.
That's
from Jonathan.
What he should do instead of those paddles. Right, Dave? I mean,
that's the first time I've seen him step in and swing sidearm at a fly kill, and that's the best result of the match on a fly kill.
Altogether at 17, Hingey serving. As soon as he changed it up and went to that power serve, Dave, everything changed. And there's another point. Hingey has the lead. And the last time out for Martin Mulkerrins, and the MSU fans are going nuts here at the show court in Springfield, Missouri. And this is quite the exciting game here, Dave.
Since Jonathan cut into this lead, it's been a completely different player, Martin Mulkerrins, as he's lost his aggressiveness, he's lost the oomph on his shots, and now he's called his third and final timeout. I believe the score is 19-17?
18-17. Okay. At one point, it was 16-3. Jonathan Hingey lost the first game, trailing 16-3 here in game number 2. And it looked like Martin was just 5 points away, cruising on to a win, and we would put him into the semifinals. But since we actually made that statement, the major announcer's curse is taking place right now, because Jonathan Hingey has now outscored his counterpart 15-1 since we were commenting on his lackadaisical serves there at 16-3.
Well, you actually started etching Martin's name in, Dave, on your plaque, and I believe you're halfway there. So I know.
Well, I actually had Martin written in. Now, if Hingey were to go on and win, that means that we would still have to have a tiebreaker, played to 11 points. It's not completely over, but this actually, because of that error, I'm now going to have to call Jonathan Hingey Martin as a new nickname.
18-17
so if Hingey does go on to win, that will be his new nickname, Martin, since that's the only name I got onto the golden bracket. People ask us all the time, how do the players get their nicknames? Well, now you found out.
That's one of the ways.
And that's a rare skip in right there, and we got a quick look. That's look number 2 from the real Martin.
That was a tight-looking swing there from Jonathan Hingey. Didn't extend all the way. And as you know, Dave, when you get tight, swing is not quite the same. It doesn't feel the same. That's why you need.
And now we're all together at 18.
That's why you need so much experience under pressure, Dave, is to figure out how your body reacts when the games are tight, because it's a different sensation.
It's going to be a big setup here.
Is that one of those plays, Dave, where you think Jonathan couldn't have done anything more with that shot anyway?
18.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those that fall in that category. 18-18 happened so fast.
Jonathan should have shot that ball down the right. Resets the action here to the ceiling.
And a skip in from Hingey at now 19-18 as Mulkerrins.
Shocking, really, Dave, as it was Jonathan completely on a roll. Now he's lost 2 of the last 3 rallies by putting right-hand setups in the floor.
Oh, and look what Hingey does. He flips it up there, clips the sidewall, gets the side out, and he takes a long breath and chuckle in there as he struts back into the server's box at 18-19.
I was going to say that Martin had regained the momentum, but that was a momentum neutralizer, Dave. I believe right now there is no momentum, despite the fact that Jonathan has now scored 16 of the last 19 points in this match, Dave, and maybe now the momentum is with Jonathan.
Well, he's certainly got the crowd behind him. I believe both players right now, Dave, are completely 100% equal on this court. Anything could happen from this point forward. Both of them are tired, both running on fumes. Well, Jonathan has a crowd, though.
Have huge adrenaline. They're feeling more butterflies than exhaustion.
Who's going to go for it?
Hit that shot well. Did not come off his hand the way he wanted to. And a little showtime.
And there's a side out.
I don't know why, Dave, you would go to that kind of showtime shot ever.
I think he got fooled.
This is what happens, Dave. You play in practice, and you develop these bad habits, going for these backhanded and behind-the-back shots, and then all of a sudden you're hitting them because it's an instinct when the game's 19-all in the biggest match of your life.
I think, Dave, he had to go to that shot. I think that he got eaten up. Let's look at it really quickly here.
You might be right. I don't think so.
Yeah,
though.
he was. He was completely fooled. He lost that ball in the back corner. He had to do that. I think that's just an athletic play. Smart move from Hingey. I don't think he's showing off at all at 19 to 19.
I'm not saying he's showing off. I think he overcommitted to a shot. And that's a great get there from Jonathan. This is one of those swirly shots.
And then he hits that ball into the ground.
Back wall with a strange spin. I believe it hit the front wall and then the ceiling, and it comes down with that down spin. It hits your hand, and the ball goes into the floor. Now it's match point for Martin Mulkerrins.
If Hingey gets a side out, this place will erupt. And there it is. What a terrible way of ending this match. Hingey takes that ball and hits it straight in the ground. I don't know if I've ever really seen that at this point. Hingey has one of the best comebacks we've ever seen on a live broadcast, and then he ends up losing this one to Martin Mulkerrins. We are going to conclude this broadcast day today for Dave Fink, Ashley Moeller, director, Linda Manning, and camera operator number 1, the chief operator, Omar Lemus. My name is Dave Vincent. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. here at Missouri State University for the United States Handball Association's 60th Collegiate Championships. We'll have more action tomorrow here live at racefor8.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm here at Placer Sports Complex on the campus of Missouri State University here in Springfield, Missouri. We're in a couple weeks, February 22nd through the 26th. We'll have over 300 student athletes from all over the world getting ready to throw down some fierce competition in the 60th Annual USHA National Collegiate Championships.
50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights.
There'll be 2 facilities. Here at Placer Sports Complex, we have 12 courts, and also at Hammond Student Center, we have 5 courts over there.
People still think that they know him. He knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise.
Teams have been gearing up for this 5-day competition all year long. Up for grabs are multiple individual titles, as well as the 3 different team titles: the women's team, men's team, and combined team titles. This is one of the biggest handball events in the world. Every year.
The fact that many misjudge him because he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together himself, got a picture connects. Never asking for someone's help to get some respect.
We'd love for you guys to come out and have a good time, and welcome to Bear Country. Mo what? Mo State.
This is 20% skill, 80% fear, be 100% clear, cause Ryu was ill. Who would've thought he'd be the one that set the West in flames? And I heard him wreck it with the crystal method, name of the game. Came back, dropped Megadeth, took him to church. I like Bleach, man. Ryu had the stupidest verse, this dude is the truth. Now everybody giving them guest spots.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.